Take down for everything. This little one, nobody can help. That's the supervisor. Okay. The third time I asked for a soup. Like six, the girl refused to.
I got one time, I'll apologize for not being able.
Yeah,
I can understand just fine.
I spoke to one girl last Thursday. Honey, I'm sorry, I just, it's pretty good. I can't understand any. Just please get me with some. No, the only thing I did hear is
Hi, guys.
I'll tell you the same thing. Thank you.
Okay, I'll see your face up.
Her camera's not on.
This regular meeting of the Vernon Township Municipal Utilities Authority, August 18th, 2022 will now convene. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this regular meeting was provided to the public and the press on December 27th, 2021 by delivering to the press such notice and posting same at the municipal building and filed with the office of the MUA as well as posted on the website. All rise to salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the
Pledge
flag
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation,
nation.
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. We have a roll call of members and professionals, please.
Yes, Paul Kearney,
Present.
Andrew Pittsger,
Present.
Dave McDermott,
present,
Kristen Wheaton,
Present.
Ed Snook,
present,
Ed DeYoung,
Present.
Mark Bauer.
Present.
For professionals, we have Don Albright, the administrator and CFO, Howie Lazier, the license operator, Steve Vanoski, the engineer, Rich Runner, the attorney, and myself, Jacqueline McCabe, recording secretary.
Very good. Number 5, executive session. Somebody make a motion to approve resolution 2230 to enter into executive session for purpose of personnel matters.
I make a motion, we enter executive session.
Second, please.
I'll second the motion.
I have to take a roll call to go in.
Yep.
Paul Kearney,
Yes.
Andrew Pittsger,
Yes.
Dave McDermott,
Yes.
Kristen Wheaton,
Yes.
Ed Snook,
Yes.
Ed DeYoung,
Yes.
Mark Bauer.
As an alternate, not voting.
Yeah, we just need the
Oh, okay.
5.
Just the five.
Yep.
Step outside, right?
We're gonna actually leave.
I'm gonna make sure I live around. In the golf goodie bag, I know.
Okay.
Motion to reconvene. Are we good?
Uh,
Live. Motion to reconvene the regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have to roll call everybody back in. Paul Carney,
Present.
Andrew Pittsger,
Present.
Dave McDermott,
Yes.
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 Kristen Wheaton,
Here,
Well, it's not a
Yes.
roll call. It's a vote on the.
yes, yes, yes.
Motion.
Ed Snook,
Yes.
Ed DeYoung,
Yes.
Mark Bauer.
Present, not voting.
All right, we're in executive session for approximately 21 minutes, during which time we discussed two personnel matters. At this point, I would entertain a motion from the board authorizing the action discussed in executive session regarding Deshaun Smith.
Motion. Second.
Paul Carney,
Yes.
Andrew Pittsger,
Yes.
Dave McDermott,
Yes.
Kristen Wheaton,
Yes.
Ed Snook.
Yes.
I'll also entertain a motion authorizing an offer of employment to Edgar Portillo at the rate not to exceed $25 an hour for 24 hours per week in the position of laborer / sewer repairer, subject to all necessary background checks.
Make that motion.
I'll second it.
Paul Carney,
Yes.
Andrew Pittsger,
Yes.
Dave McDermott,
Yes.
Kristen Wheaton,
Yes.
Ed Snook.
Yes. Okay. Open meeting, the public for agenda items only. Make a motion to open the meeting to the public for agenda items only, please.
Motion to open the meeting to the public for agenda items only? I'll second it.
Wait from the public.
I do. I have Peg DeStacy.
So all in favor?
Yes, all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Although I appreciate the fact that I got a chance to watch my favorite evening show Jeopardy, I do think that your executive session should be held prior to your opening your meeting to the public. It's very rude to make us sit here and wait while you have your meeting. The town council has it prior or after, and I suggest that maybe you follow the suit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Put that under-
I have Jesse Palladini. There we go.
Hi, I just want to know what it was that you voted on. What was that motion concerning the first executive session matter? You gave a name and you didn't say anything. What was that about?
It was a person, Ms. Palladini, this is Rich Weiner. It was a personnel matter regarding an employee of the MUA.
Well, yeah, I assumed that, but what was the action? If you're voting on it publicly, isn't it now public?
Terminate.
The action is public. Yeah, we make an effort not to unnecessarily air dirty laundry, so to speak. But it regarded the continue or the non-continuation of employment of an
Okay.
MUA employee.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Rich.
You're welcome.
Okay.
That is all I have.
What else? Hey. Do you know what else from the public stepping forward? Make a motion to close the meeting for agenda items only.
Make a motion to close.
Second that motion.
Approval of the bills, resolution 2235. Make a motion to approve resolution 2235. Did everybody get a chance to see the bills?
Yes, I did.
I have a question. On page one, the top one, it's Annual PM Black Creek Lift Pump Station 1, 2, and 3 power generator services from May. And on page 3, power generator services, annual PM Black Creek Stations 1, 2, and 3, annual PM. 2 PMs in one. Two
No,
annuals.
one is from
stack.
last year. We didn't receive a bill.
Oh, okay. All
Yep.
right. Fair enough.
That explains it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we'll right over that. I guess the other question I have is overall to budget, how are we doing?
We're at 61% year to date.
61. Okay, so we're in good shape.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you.
Any other questions? Make a motion to approve resolution for the bills, 2235.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills. Resolution 22-35.
Second, please.
I'll second that.
Paul Carney,
Yes.
Andrew Pittsger,
Yes.
Dave McDermott,
Yes.
Kristen Wheaton,
Yes.
Ed Snook.
Yes. Approval of the minutes, meeting minutes from June 16th, 2022. I have a motion to approve the minutes. Did everybody read the minutes? Anybody have any questions? I have a question. I wasn't here.
Right.
Just curious. I wasn't here and Kristen wasn't here. So the two alternate commissioners had to vote. Mark, you abstained on those three items that needed to be voted on. Just give me a quick explanation of that.
Yes, I didn't feel that I had sufficient background to make an intelligent and responsible vote, so I abstained.
Okay, all right, very good. And that's my only question on that.
Motion to approve meeting minutes for August 16th.
Yes. June 16th.
June 16th.
That's right, June 16th.
So moved.
2022.
A second?
Second.
Okay, good. Very good.
Okay. So Paul Carney. Abstain, yep, yeah,
Yeah,
abstain.
abstain.
Andrew Pittsger,
Yes.
Dave McDermott,
Yes.
Kristen Wheaton,
Abstain.
Ed Snook,
Yes.
Ed DeYoung,
Yes.
Mark Bauer.
Yes.
Resolution number 2236.
Special meeting minutes.
Special meeting,
Oh,
letter B.
Did I miss that somewhere?
Mhm.
Here's it. Okay.
Yeah.
We have approval of the meeting minutes from the special meeting of July 15th, 2022.
Motion to approve special meeting minutes from July 15th, 2022. I think there's only three of us that can.
There's only three.
I'll move that.
Okay. So Paul Carney. Andrew Pittsger.
Yes.
Dave McDermott,
Yes.
you are not. an
I'm abstain, I'm an abstention.
Kristen Wheaton,
Abstain.
Ed Snook,
So,
Ed DeYoung,
Yes.
Mark Bauer.
Yes, and with compliments to the preparation of the minutes
Thank
by
you.
you or Danell, whoever
I
did
do
it.
them, thank you,
Good job.
thanks.
okay. Now, resolution 2236. Ratification of the emergency declaration to procure and install emergency grinder at Sand Hill Pump Station. Give an explanation.
Sure, yeah, I can give you a little bit of explanation. So, pump station 2 grinder, went on us. But in order to purchase another one, we had purchased one earlier this year for pump station 1. In order for us to purchase this one, we were overpaid a plate threshold. So usually we have to pass a resolution for that. We had passed a resolution, for the first grinder when we first bought when we bought the first grinder, but it was only to, to a certain dollar amount to not exceed for that vendor. So in order for me to purchase this, which it was an emergency, I needed to basically declare an emergency and purchase it without doing this resolution. So this resolution, it allows for it, because it's the health and public safety of everybody that's on the sewer system and people that are not on the sewer system in the area. So it's important that we went ahead and did and ordered the grinders that had come in before we had this meeting. So this basically just states that, kind of like a formality that we have to go through when I do something like this.
Very good. Any questions?
I guess the only question is, I know it's an emergency. When is that pump going to be in?
The end of September.
Very good. We can survive till then, I guess. So they're watching a grind.
Yes. Yeah, we don't have a choice. So yes.
Okay.
If it's gonna take that long for it to get replaced, repaired, replaced, are there extra rounds that the men might be doing to just, double, triple check that area, just
Howie,
to be safe?
I think I wanted to say something.
We are not doing extra rounds? Or you mean like an extra day?
No,
Is that what you're asking?
No, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
during the course of the day, if
Yes.
you go there in the morning, maybe you'll check it again, an extra time or two during the course of the day. I don't expect people to be going there, at midnight to check it, but, when you're out and about, if somebody's heading down the road and you're passing it, you've already been there, stop in again, just as a safety precaution, because you never know. You might catch something on an off moment.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion to approve resolution 22-36.
We have a second.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, Paul Carney,
Yes.
Andrew Pittsger,
Yes.
Dave McDermott,
Yes.
Kristen Wheaton,
Yes.
and Ed Snow.
Yes. Resolution 2237, calculations for Theta 456 Associates.
Do we have the applicant there in the room?
We do.
Yes.
We're right here.
I wasn't sure, I wasn't sure if George wanted to speak at all to the board, but just to give some brief background, this is for a 55 unit, 55 and older housing development that's on Theta Drive. We've had a couple of meetings with the developers, over the past, I'd say like 6 months or so. They submitted everything, and I know you have Steve's original, letter with comments on it. Steve did email me earlier today, and he said he's reviewed all the updated paperwork that George has provided to us. So he's comfortable, and Steve can speak to this, but he said he was comfortable issuing approval and issuing an updated letter after getting all of that earlier this week. But if George is there, he can speak, and Steve, you can speak on the actual application itself.
I'm not sure I heard Donnell clearly, but if the board has questions or happy to answer.
Question?
I guess based on what the calculations in this plan, which I looked over this plan, they're extremely one of the more thorough ones I've seen come through
I agree.
this council. Right now it's at 33 EDUs. How many units are in the
55,
55 of them?
and that's calculated at a
Parking and everything else is laid out very well. Other than that, you've been working with Steve on this, and calculations seem legitimately very clean, but like I said, 11 pages of a plan at this stage to me is great work done. I want to see that zoning takes a look at this, and then it goes on to the rest of the government.
Good luck. Good luck. I don't have any questions. Everything looks in order on our end.
Okay. Steve, any comments you need to make on this?
No comment. So when we issued the letter, I forget exactly when it was, last Friday or 2 weeks ago. There were, that letter contained the EDU calculation. And it also contained 5 or 6, what I would call technical comments on the plans. Some things that were missing from the plans, perhaps some things that had to be updated on the plan. None of those items were anything too significant. And they resubmitted the plans with updates, which were, reviewed and found to be satisfactory.
There is one question I have, which I had noted on this drawing. The parking lot, it looks like parking lot drains and drains in the basement, those all go into the sewer system as well?
Are you asking me, Andy?
Yeah, I'm asking the parking lot and it looks like basement drains that are on this drawing. Do they also go into the sewer line as well?
There's an underground recharge system. for
Yeah.
storm.
I don't believe so. Can the applicant address that?
That's why I can't really tell. On the computer screen, it's real hard for me to tell. That's why I'm asking the question.
There's an underground recharge
Okay,
underneath the parking lot for stormwater. I don't believe that discharges into the sanitary system.
okay.
Okay,
Yep, that should be.
I can imagine that it would.
That should be to the drainage system. We can take another look at that before we issue any final correspondence on it.
That's fine.
very good.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Good question, Andy.
Because, well, it comes into this pipeline here and there's a junction box. I'm seeing it to the system here, so that looks like a recharge system. Okay, very good. It's off to the far right of the plan.
I can tell you it's an expensive recharge.
I can- It's to the far right and I don't have it on the screen is why. Okay, good. Thank you.
So, Andy's making reference to a set of plans that were not in the packet that I received.
It was sent separately today.
It was sent separately today.
Mhm.
I've looked at everything that I received.
I could send it to you again after the meeting. Or do you,
I'll just abstain from the vote. Yeah, there seems to be a problem with me receiving materials for this meeting.
Just in looking at the plans, that detention system drains to that stormwater drainage system, not the sanitary system.
Yeah, I mean, you could throw it up on the screen if you want, Steve. This way Kristen would have maybe a better understanding, but maybe she needs to see the rest of the.
No, that's okay. I mean, it maybe if
Now
it's of any benefit, if it's of any benefit for anybody else, that's fine. But yeah, I mean, I think when we're, deliberating calculations, and it's references 11 sheets of plans, those 11 sheets should be in the package that we received, please.
Yeah, I agree. What time were they sent out today?
earlier this afternoon,
I didn't get them either.
Yeah, 1:39
one
PM.
39.
I didn't get them.
Oh, really? Because you're always my first
I guess,
deadline to see everybody else. So I
yeah.
don't know, maybe if that has.
I don't think I am,
Yeah,
I
you're right.
just forwarded them to everybody again.
but I didn't get it.
You got it, right?
Hmm?
You got it, right?
But
I didn't look today. I mean, I looked at the stuff yesterday for the meeting. Figured anything we needed would be in the packet.
yeah, stuff that's really nice.
Come on, I didn't get it.
Well, if
I don't want to hold this off forever.
Just do it.
But we may need to,
I mean, as far as for approving the 33 EDUs, do we need the rest of this detail?
I don't.
I mean,
If it's-
it was nice to have, but
Yeah,
I've never
if-
seen
if-
that much detail.
right, but if the EDUs are based solely on residencies in the place, the 55 units. If that's what it's based on solely, then I'm okay with it, but with the caveat that if that is not, if those drains don't go to the recharge system, or if they're found that they're going into the sewer system, which I don't believe they would be, otherwise why would there be a recharge system?
Right.
But if it comes out that they are, then we'd have to revisit this. So I don't know, can we approve something with the caveat like that? Or do we have to wait? And that makes us wait another month unless we call a special meeting, and I don't really want to hold the developer up. But I think there has to be some, without a doubt, clarity to this.
I don't think that they're permitted to put that into the sewer system.
I don't think they are either.
So I mean, it wouldn't be in line with our rules and regulations or the rules and regulations that SCUMA has for our sewer system. So something like that wouldn't be approved anyway.
Yep.
Just as a general principle, though, if there is a.
Into the sanitary.
Say that again, Steve.
The plans do not show that system, detention recharge system. It does not show it connecting to the sanitary system.
There you go.
Right.
No, it doesn't.
And just as a general principle, if there's a change in use or intensification of a use that would warrant a recalculation of the EDU count, that of course will always come back before the board. So right now it would be approving an allocation of 33 EDUs for the property located at 711 Theta Drive based upon the application that's been submitted to the MUA and as reviewed by the engineer. And if there's something that changes down the road that warrants the recalculation of the EDUs, then that would come back before the board.
The applicant understands that.
Okay,
I'm okay with moving.
I'm okay.
okay, so somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Paul Kearney,
Yes.
Andrew Pittsger,
Yes.
Dave McDermott,
Yes.
Kristen Wheaton,
Abstain.
Ed Snook.
Yes.
Who made the motion? Was it Ed?
Ed,
Ed Young.
Well, he's an alternate, so
Then I'll make the motion.
can't be, yeah, let's do it.
Ed.
Let's do it.
But thanks for that clarification, Rich. When I served on the school board, what we thought then was that even a non-voting member could place the item on the table, but not vote on it. So thanks for that clarification.
Yep, that's fine. Or can we just for total sake of completeness, by Ed Snook?
Yeah.
Is there a second by Andy Pinster?
Mhm.
Okay, and there's a roll call,
And the roll call. Oh, do it again.
please.
Paul Kearney,
Yes.
Andrew Pittsger,
yes.
Dave McDermott,
Yes.
Kristen Wheaton,
Abstain.
Ed Snook.
Yes.
Administrator,
It was so good, you did it twice.
Thank you all. Administrator report.
Approved for tooth plots.
Now, you're on.
Okay, great. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
I have an issue with the microphone. Okay. So updates on pump station 2, we are still actively working with the DEP. Right now, they need to approve the SDG plan. We got through the other issues that we were having. So we're just waiting on that. And we meet with them again weekly now on Tuesday. So hopefully everything will be moving forward with that. Sewer service area mapping, I've reached out to the DEP, I think 4 times now, with regards to our questions from our last meeting that we had with them. I did it again yesterday, and this time I included the director? I don't know what they're called. The director basically of the DEP, and I finally got a response. So hopefully we'll be hearing back from them on the sewer service area mapping. Said again that we can move forward with that. There were only a couple of minor adjustments that need to be made from our last meeting. The transfer station, we are going to be working on putting together a draft to what's needed to move forward on that. Town council set up a subcommittee for the town council to look into the transfer station as well. So we're going to have kind of a subcommittee meeting, a joint subcommittee meeting between the MUA and town council subcommittee to discuss that moving forward. Updates on your capital items. We are ordering stone for easement ditch number 1. The other 2 were taken care of with the bike and walking path. So that is a positive thing. The generators at the lift stations, we're just waiting. The next step is to do the concrete pads that need to go down so that Elizabethtown Gas can go ahead and put in their lines and their meters. Pump station 3, so we've been talking about that for a while. We did have a quote, but the issue is that the company was unable to get approval from the state of New Jersey for the public works contract. So we're gonna have to go out for quotes again. I do have a little bit of concern about it because it was difficult to get quotes to begin with. And I just know in other areas that we're working on the township side, it's hard to get contractors to give quotes, to show up to give quotes and then to follow up. So we're gonna try our best with that one. With regards to, obviously we talked about Muffin Monster before, so that'll be in at the end of September. The force main evaluation, I do need to meet with Steve and James to discuss how we want to do the force main evaluation along the railroad tracks. That's something that we've had to put on the back burner just while we're working on pump station 2 and a couple other things. And lift station replacements, that's still like on the, not back burner, it's there. It's just, you know, pump station 2 is our top priority right now, so we're focused more on that rather than doing the lift stations right away. So that's all I have for that. Our new developments, obviously the Theta Drive application tonight. We've also been working with the developers who are developing the golf course on Route 94 near Mountain Creek, as well as there's some property adjacent to McAfee Ski Shop that we've been working with the developers there. They're looking to put in residential units. So they would be residential units connected to the sewers. And that's just all I have. And I don't know if anyone has any questions.
I think, Danelle, we talked a little bit about this, is that on the project list, the new Salter pump to Black Creek, just the status of it being filling out the form, make sure that's updated. And then I guess we'll get the Muffin Monster for steps for pump station 2 you've addressed. This one on the force main evaluations. Do we know what the estimated cost will be yet?
No, I think we're still in preliminary discussions on exactly what we want to do there, right? So we can do something where we talked about doing like coupons with the pipe. This was a while ago, almost like a year ago, back when we were doing the whole force main evaluation for the asset management plan. So we could do something like that, or I was thinking we might be able to install an air release valve. I know that there's supposedly there's a buried air release valve already there, but I'm not sure it's actually there or not. So I think there's some more research that needs to go into it. Each one of those things is a different cost, right? So we kind of need to see what is the best route to go and then bring it before the board with recommendations.
Okay. And I'm not real clear on valves at pump station 3, discussions with the license operator regarding location, numbers, needs, inspections. Can you clarify that one for me?
Yeah, so that was something Harry was looking into. We actually are going to remove that. We're not going to be moving forward with that.
So are we going to take that any further?
No.
Okay. So can that one be taken off the list, or?
Yes.
Should it be taken off the list?
Yeah, that'll be taken off the list.
Anything else? Okay, Donnell, thank you. Engineering report, Steve. I'm sorry. License operator report, Howie.
Yeah, we all know that we had that power outage across the whole state just about, but that went well. Everything held up pretty good during that. But we were a little busy this month with a couple calls from the condos. As you read in there, I got a call from Lisa stating that there was an issue back in 2017. I was not aware of it until she called me about a crack in the line on Vail that they said was a crack. We cambered it 3 times. We didn't find anything but a flat spot on the top of the pipe. I put down as a trouble spot, and we're going to keep checking that weekly with the camera. I had a call for Black Creek. That was a pump failure. It turned out that it's not the pump failure. We had Jim come in. He checked the pump. It ended up being a relay switch burnt out. It can be manually pushed in, and the pump works, but it does not pull in when it's called for it. We're in the process of finding one. Correct me if I'm wrong with that, Jackie.
Yeah, we're looking for one right now. One of our vendors said it could take 3 to 6 weeks, I believe, to come in.
And that's the lift station. So we're operating under one pump, but the other pump does work. I was speaking with Andy today. He stopped just to check on the generators, and I was bringing up a couple ideas of preventive maintenance. And I think, Jackie, we need to increase the cleaning on the pump stations
Okay,
to maybe 4, just to see how it works. We'll go 4 months after tomorrow.
okay,
And then I think what we really need to do is, instead of worrying about the lift stations right away, as Danell, I think you said you're going to put that on the back burner. I think we need to have a company come in and camera all our lines in the condos. I think we did that back when Hatchmont was here. I think that was on my way of going to the road department. So I don't really know what the outcome was or where, and if that is on record. But I think we need to have a company come in and give us a camera and survey on what the lines look like.
Okay.
And I think if we have them come in, we give them our maps that we have, and we can go off of each page of section it to that, to what the lines run.
What's the basis for that recommendation of TVing all lines?
To see if we have any trouble spots that are unknown. And to get an update of our existing pipe laying and see if we have any infiltration coming in.
Well, infiltration would be a much more detailed study than just cameraing.
Yes, it would be. But it would give us an idea of what they look like.
And I'm sorry, the basis to see if there's any problem areas?
Yes.
Is there some, what is the basis? If you can just clarify for me, maybe I missed it.
Well, like I said, probably, I'm going to go back probably maybe 8 years ago. Hatchmark had come in and was going to give us all that. And they started doing that in sections. And they started from the right side to where the private houses are in the condos and started working their way in. And just to give us a layout of what our actual system looks like. And just by us going through a couple of them from my time back in there with Cameron, where we had some trouble spots, we did have some roots coming in. But I just don't think our guys can do that 3 days a week and sustain a time frame to do that would be in 3 days a week. We have a camera, but I just don't think that they can do it reasonably.
Honestly, I think it's a good idea. I mean, the system is like 40, 45 years old up there.
Probably older.
Yeah.
So do we have the records, the reports from 8 years ago? So if we decide to do something like this, we have a starting point?
That I don't know. And if we do, it was in John Scarborough's old office.
Yeah, we can look and see if we have any sort of reports or anything from that.
Because if we do have them and this was done and we have records and you want to check lines that back then were looking as they might become problematic, and you check ones that there might be a reason to go into them. Like you're talking about a wholesale, every single line up to the condos. There's going to be quite an expense to that just to do it. I think if we know of possible problematic spots from back then and we look at them and we could see how the deterioration or the growth in them has progressed since that point in time, then you can go forward from there. But just to wholesale through them all, I don't know what kind of money we're talking about.
I don't either, but yeah, I mean, if we have records, that would be a lot easier for us. Like you said, if we have our trouble spots off of those, then yeah, we could do that.
as far as money goes, I think, I don't think there's anything wrong. We can reach out to the company that did the camera work for our asset management plan and just get a roundabout idea.
Yeah, if we had a product done and you can't find it in John's old office, Hatchmark's still gotta have a copy of it. It's a product that was paid for. They should have the study.
Right.
We should.
Right.
We should.
Right.
We had computers back there, right?
Yeah. And computers back then. Oh, that's good.
Storage units.
But maybe we should start with that, is get the previous report before we make a move forward.
So,
Yeah.
I guess I would anticipate that the reason you would undertake such a program would be in anticipation of planning a capital improvement program for your collection system. And the justification for cost would be based on, lots of repair calls in that area.
Right.
And I'm not sure I heard how severe or what this severity of calls, whether they're becoming burdensome or becoming excessively expensive. But a capital repair program, certainly for the collection system, is going to be very expensive. And I don't think that I'm not sure that I would say that cost would be justified right now. There may very well be some roots intrusion that from time to time will cause a need for repair. There may very well, and I'm sure that there is infiltration occurring. But until we have a need to recover that that flow and that capacity in our system, I don't see the merits of undertaking an I&I study at this time, or the beginning of an I&I study with TVing the system.
No, I was just throwing it out there for more preventive, to be honest with you, but I'm okay with whatever, like I said there. But I know that one time we did talk about it with Hatchmat, and with Seren when she was on there, so I don't really know what the conclusions were.
What's have we discussed, Donnell, the cost of doing the TV system of the system?
No, it's, sorry, I think my mic was cutting out before again. I think we could reach out to the company we used last year just to get a roundabout idea how much something like that would cost.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of go from there.
I'm not saying that there aren't some problems, but are you finding that you're being called up there, quite a lot, Howie?
No, I mean, there are spots that we've had in this last call, just a little bit, but I think that's just basically on the tenants.
Yeah, and so I mean, it's a little to me it's very different from us TVing, our primary force main,
Right.
Or interceptor. If there's a problem up there, it's going to be a small diameter pipe. It's not going to, it's going to affect a more limited amount of customers.
Right.
And the TV program is going to be expensive. So I'm just not sure that I see the merits of it right now.
Yeah, and I was just saying, if it did go, I would propose it doing in sections, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The amount of footage that is up in there.
Well, Holly, with the camera system we have, if we have areas of specific concern, we can scope those out ourselves, correct?
Yeah, our camera's 300 feet, so yeah, we can scope quite a bit, and to, like the manhole to clean house, sure.
Maybe that's the approach we take, is that if we have an inkling that an area is of high concern, we check it first, and then if this gets more extensive, then come back to the commissioners and we can discuss further. And as you said, we were trying to look at preventative ways to prevent issues, and this, maybe that we just take a different avenue to it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Like I said, we do have the camera, and we can do that. And like I said, we have been doing that with our trouble spots that we keep on the board, and they do camera sometimes weekly. Like I said, that one on Vale Court, we're cameraing weekly now. But we also have a couple that we do monthly.
Anything else, Howie?
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Engineer report, Steve?
Good evening, everyone. Donnell talked about a lot of the same things that I am going to talk about, so there may be some duplication here. First thing is pump station 2. We are at the final stages of getting iBank approval in the last few weeks. It's been a slow, overall, it's been an extremely slow process, unfortunately. In the last 2 weeks, we got two of the final 3 approvals, SED plan and the approval of the engineering agreement. So that was positive news. Now the final plans and specifications are under review. That's not really a technical review at this point. That's more of a review of contractual items. So hopefully those are approved here the next week or 2. Fingers crossed. And then once we get that, we're gonna essentially be in a position to go out to bid, immediately with that. So once we get that, we aren't gonna waste any time to move that forward. Sewer service area mapping. So as Donnell said, we've participated in some discussions with Donnell and others with the DEP. The sewer service area mapping, that is at least in part in conjunction with some planned development in the 2 developments that Donnell referenced, the golf course and the McAfee. We're trying to get confirmation of the inclusion in the sewer service area. We think it will be okay, but as Donnell said, we don't have confirmation on that. We discussed 456 Beta Associates tonight, so I don't think there's anything else to discuss there. And then Donnell mentioned the pump station 1 easement ditch, and we had some discussions with Donnell about ordering some stone to fill in at least that one section.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Thanks, Steve.
Questions, comments?
I just have a comment for Steve and Danell. This work on pump station 2 has been a laborious process that you've done. You've stayed on top of the DEP with. I said it in these meetings, it is a time-consuming, task-oriented frustration that you guys are going through, and you've gone through this with patience, and I appreciate everything you continue to do. And I know, Steve, I've given you a lot of headaches asking all the time where we are. And I hope that this FED process, which is the last step, gets done pretty quickly. So thank you.
As do I.
Yeah.
Hear, hear.
Deep breath. I can see you.
Else? Right. Work session, discussion regarding securing information from Veolia. Now,
Or Mark, I'm not sure who.
we lose her?
Yeah.
Perhaps we can reorder the agenda, move this down until Donnell comes back.
Sure, why not? Can,
What the heck?
we're open to the public for items not on the agenda.
I make a motion to open a public again.
Second that?
Anyone from the public?
At this time, I don't have anyone with their hands raised or anyone in the public.
Nice try.
Seeing no one from the public, make a motion to close the session.
Motion to close the session to the public?
Second. Good try.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, let's go to,
Public opposed?
no Donnell yet. Okay, let's go to commissioners' comments. Down here.
I have a question. If we go to a transfer, will the town be bidding out a company that pumps? And everyone must use that one?
My thought on that, when we, in prior discussions is if we do that, there could be multiple. I don't
Could be
think it would be one company.
Okay.
Because I would never want to say, hey, you gotta use this guy.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, that's what I was getting at. I wouldn't either.
it would have to fit whatever parameters we set and, something along to be determined,
I
obviously.
couldn't do all the work anyway.
I guess my opinion is that's a legislative ruling that will have to come from the town council developing that.
We don't even want to start
Yeah,
measuring that.
that's- yeah,
Our job is the operations part, right?
Right.
So we will have to operate it and the rules
So I think are gonna be up to them how it's,
are going to be managed.
true.
I don't even want to step into that.
Might have- might have- I might have-
Well, there would have been discussion
might have overstepped.
and input.
Yeah,
There should be discussion and input.
Yeah.
no, we should
So-
supply input to it.
but
but
it's just like, we're gonna have to operate it.
Yeah, exactly. That's why there should be input.
All right, let's pause the commissioner's comments and go
bring them all
back to the work session. Discussion regarding procuring information from Veolia. Donnell?
Right, so we reached out to Veolia probably a couple months ago to get copies of all of the annual water usage reports for the condos. They did say that they were going to work on it. They said it was going to take a long time. So we've reached out a couple of times since then. They told us this week that we should have it within the next 5 days. That it has taken them, a very long time to gather all that information. So hopefully we can have that, and then we can start really looking in our subcommittee at the water usage that we would be looking at and how that would compare to like our EDU calculations.
Okay. Questions on this? Anybody? No? Okay, we turn to the, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Veolia had requested a non-disclosure agreement from us.
They requested a non-disclosure agreement from you.
From me.
Right.
And also from you, from the email that I saw, the same one.
Not from us.
Well,
When
then,
when we requested it, when it was requested, we requested it as the MUA, as the entity. So I don't know if, they deal with us, so it could have just been like,
one of us misread an exchange because I am quite confident that they sent the same agreement to you that they sent to me as a precondition for the release of information. I don't believe that they asked of it selectively of me, but in any event, whether they did or not, we should have determination whether we will enter into a non-disclosure if required.
Oh, I got a question about that then. So you're speaking of non-disclosure of data that we're looking for to determine potential costs on this study that we're looking at. Well, just by its very nature, that data is going to get disclosed in discussion somewhere along the line.
Of course.
So how can one sign a non-disclosure when this is a open public meeting where these things will be discussed? If it gets to that point, it will be discussed in detail. I don't see how a non-disclosure could be signed.
Well, it depends on what you're not allowed to disclose. As I looked at it, you can use the information freely for appropriate government purposes. That was not an issue. You can't do is violate the privacy of the individual unit owners by publicizing this person used that much gallonage and that person used something less. But in the abstract, anonymized for governmental purposes, I don't think that's an issue at all. I did forward this to.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it.
So that he could
Yeah,
give us
this
his
will
guidance.
we'll need clarity if it was just to Mark or if it was to the board. Or we could really make a decision on that one way or the other, honestly. But so in essence, we're just still waiting on the information from them.
Which I don't believe we'll get until we have the non-disclosure
All right, so we need
agreement
to
in
see
hand.
exactly what they're looking for, if it's specific to you or if it's from the MUA.
Yeah, and if the board wants to entertain a motion authorizing that to be signed, subject to review by legal counsel, we can do that. And I would be authorizing, it really should be coming from Danell as the administrator, but Mark certainly is a authorized, as an alternate on the board, as an authorized representative of the board, could also be authorized to sign that non-disclosure. Again, subject to review by legal. Want to do that, just to streamline matters, we could certainly do that.
I'm fine with
I'm
that.
fine with that.
Everybody else?
Unnecessary.
That would be the motion.
May I have a motion to,
Proceed that Danell has authorization.
Yep, subject to review by council.
Okay,
Motion by Andy,
second.
second by Paul.
I just want to let you know Donnell had a call in. She is able to speak.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm sorry, and who was the second?
Paul.
I am.
Yeah.
Roll call.
Do we need to roll call or?
Yep.
Okay, Paul Carney,
Yes.
Andrew Pittsger,
yes,
Dave McDermott,
Yes.
Kristen Wheaton,
Yes.
Ed Snook,
Yes.
So that's that. Back to commissioner comments. Ed?
I don't have any comments this evening.
Dave?
Yeah, since our last meeting, Andy and I had met, at my house. We put together an idea of, what we wanted to do, to try and get some relief for the senior citizens that are hooked up to the system and the disabled veterans. We forwarded that to Donnell, and, hopefully we can knock it out and get, get it in front of the commissioners.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. I saw some of it. I think there was questions asked.
Yeah.
So, it's just like the other, billing in different ways type of thing. When it's there in black and white and stamped, that's it. This is how it is. And you can do this or can't do that. Then I'd be prepared to vote on something and make a decision. But until that point in time, and that could be tomorrow, but where you're going with it's fine.
We did the research and it's legal, to do it. As opposed, I know that, there's other, as a matter of fact, I think Rich did the research for us. And, it's legal under the Disabilities Act and, it's different from, using meters versus EDUs. It's separate.
Yeah, 'cause it's not a separate overall billing process. It's
Yeah, it's just a rate.
calculated the same, it's just a different rate.
Yeah, and so we had some ideas and we had to figure out what kind of form to use, like things like that.
Okay.
And, but it's in the process and hopefully we can get it done.
I guess at this point, Dave, one of the things is we vote commissioners, but I don't know whether Rich got a copy of this.
I didn't get a copy of
Yes,
that.
I'll make sure I send it because there are 4 actions we have. One is to contact legal.
Yeah.
And then, but just review with the commissioners first before we put it into Rich's lap.
Yeah.
So it says what legal forms would we require, requirements for implementation. What's the budget effect? The annual review of qualifications and what other areas would we be falling into? So I think, and I did not see your question. I don't know whether you have them to me or to Nell or to Dave.
I'm not aware of it.
Because I'll capture those in here.
Okay, very
Okay,
good.
very good. All right, I'll make sure I forward that to you as well.
Anything else, Dave?
No, it's it for me.
Mark?
Yeah. My colleague mentioned EDUs and flow rates, which is my cause to ettre. So I'm going to take a moment to talk about that. When you walk out the building, you will see across the street my two-seater orange race car. It is parked next to a six-seater SUV car. Both cars have an 18-gallon tank. Both cars get about 400 miles to a tank of gas. So let's say I get into my two-seater car and one of you gets into your six-seater car. We both drive to the gas station and we both say, fill it up 18 gallons. Fine. Guy says to me, Mark, here's your 18 gallons, $5 a gallon. Says to my colleague with his six-seater, 18 gallons, $15 a gallon. I said, what are you talking about? It's the same 18 gallons. It's the same 400 miles to the gallon. It's the same car, four wheels, one steering wheel. Why are you charging me 3 times as much? The answer is, well, because your car carries 3 times as many people. He says, but I'm the only person in the car, just like Mark in his car. And gas station guy says, I don't care. We don't go by the number of gallons. We don't go by the number of passengers. We go there by the number of seats that the car will carry. Your car carries 3 times as much. You pay 3 times as much. That's the position that we are in right now. We don't go by the amount of gallons. We don't go by the number of users. We don't go by the efficiency of the use. All we do is count the number of bedrooms. We don't even count the number of beds, far less the number of occupants. It is absolutely nuts. From my correspondence with Mr. Wenner, of which a couple of you were here and there copied, but not uniformly copied. It is my understanding from the cases that Mr. Wenner showed me that there is no issue. Billing by the EDU is absolutely lawful. The courts sustain it with the recognition that it may be unfair. However, the statute clearly says that EDUs is just one of many different ways to calculate sewage bills. The first one listed naturally is usage, which is the obviously most precise, most fair way to go. It is my understanding, and Mr. Wenner, correct me if I'm mistaken, no legal challenge has ever been made to what constitutes the term class as used in the law, which requires that all members of the same class be treated the same. And the court's very clear, you have to treat all members of the same class the same. However, as far as I'm aware, no one has ever questioned what constitutes a class and whether you can create different subclasses within an overall class of residential users. And the obvious subclass that I am looking at is residential users who have wells or other private sources of water and aren't metered. And a separate class for other residential users don't have wells, but are metered through Veolia, which is the purpose of getting bills from Veolia so that we can look at that. So if I am not mistaken, we would, if my thoughts were pursued, we would probably be the only MUA that has actually created subclasses of residential use. It has never been challenged in court. And as a consequence, I cannot say a court would salute it or reject it. With respect, I don't think Mr. Wenner could either, nor can anyone else, because now you're speculating about what some judge might do on a hypothetical that has never been raised before. And that's the background I want to put out, because this is the first time I've had the entire commission here, 100% attendance, that I could get my point across. I'm gonna go across the street now and buy a tank of gas. I hope I get billed the same rate as everybody else. I don't want to get a discount because I have a two-seater. I also don't want to be overcharged because someone else has a six-seater. Thank you.
Andy,
Let's see, a couple things. As I mentioned before, we've been having, and Danelle's mentioned it, I've been attending the DEP weekly meetings. It's typically 15 minutes just to get an update. Working on pump station 2, this is, to me, is still the most critical project we have to get done. And all the other projects that we have on the back burner right now until this comes done. I hope to have this shoveled in ground and actually completion of this and divorce the other system by April, May next year. Mark, in response to this metering situation, I agree that meters are a more fair situation, but as in the charter, we have to answer a lot of questions. Listed here is the cost of operations of going to meters, cost of getting readings, cost of comparison. We can, and even the cost of going to court to challenge this. We need to know that it has to be put in front of the commissioners to make a sound decision. So the project is with you and Paul, and Rich is your advisor to this. If you want to do that, I think you need to put those upfront costs to us so we have a full picture. As I mentioned to you before privately, I support you. I helped write this charter with you. But we need documentation and clarity as a group. Sitting here, we can talk about one car getting 14 miles to the gallon, the other one being charged 6 seats. That's not going to put the numbers on the table that we could all understand.
I quite agree. And
So we got a lot of work ahead of us. So
yes.
I look forward to that. And
The one number that specifically spoke of, probably the one that cannot be reduced, that is, what would the cost of litigation over this be? What litigation? By whom? Who's going to bring the challenge? Who's going to defend the challenge? What court? There's no way you can attach a cost to that other than say your lawyer costs X dollars per hour, but nobody knows how many hours. So I don't think what you're asking for is reasonably attainable. And what you can do is throw out a vague ballpark number and say, oh, well, we'll set aside X $1,000 for litigation, but there's no way to know whether X thousand is 10 times what you need or a tenth of what you need.
But
it's not doable.
But there is a whole litany of lists here of other items that need.
Those you can do.
And I, for one, as a commissioner, will not move forward until we answer some of these questions. So I wouldn't even give it a motion to go forward until we get some hard numbers. I don't know how the rest of the commissioners feel, but we've had this dialogue before, put some numbers to the paper.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. That's for tonight.
Kristen.
Yeah, so just kind of following up on that theme. I did miss 2 prior meetings, so I just wanted to understand the status of the study regarding the cost of metering. I believe we were going to develop some kind of an estimate of the cost to install meters, or whether it was indeed feasible.
I think
Can you hear me?
yeah, I hear you. I think preliminarily the cost of installing meters was cost prohibitive. That's why the discussion regarding procuring information from Veolia has begun to get an idea of the in usage, because some people or municipalities or MUAs, they do a bill based on the water bill. So that would be the first step in that direction, just to try to get an idea. But I think the cost of installing individual meters on each unit, it's very expensive. And a sewage meter, something that's gonna let solids go by.
Yeah, no, I
It's
agree.
very expensive.
So that's our understanding or intuition. As I recall, back in May or April, didn't we request the engineer to develop a memo or something that would give us, some kind of summary of the costs?
Yeah, we've been working, I've been working with the engineers on that because we've been having to find specific types of meters that would work for all the locations. Because you have gravity at some of them and you have, force at the other one. So
I see. Okay.
we had, we looked at like sewer meters, we looked at water meters, right? So, I mean, they're all kind of cost prohibitive, but this is something that we were going to discuss in the subcommittee.
Which subcommittee?
It's one more expensive.
I'm sorry, there's a side conversation happening that.
There's a subcommittee for this specifically. So the whole idea is that we would discuss it in the subcommittee and then bring it back to the board with all of this information.
Correct. And that's, we don't have all of the information yet. That's why it's conversation's a little premature, in this forum. But it is being looked at. It's taking a little time because when we do present it, I don't want to present it with questions. I want to have every answer, which you never have. I don't want to, present it and then say, well, let me get back to you on that. I got to research that a little more. So it's going to take maybe a little longer than anticipated. But when we do present it, hopefully we have all the answers.
Okay, that's fine. I understand that. And yeah, like you say, we may never get all the answers, but to at least kind of be able to summarize, what we know and what we don't know, will help us to, just to understand
Possibility won't come out, so-
the lay of the land and the possibilities. Yeah. Okay, that's my only comment for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kristen, I have a question for you. Have you had any dialogue with the Environmental Commission regarding transfer station discussions?
No, I have not, Andy.
Okay, thank you.
All right. First of all, I want to get on board with Andy there, and I salute Steve, Donnell, and Jackie with their diligence on this pump station and dealing with the DEP, the process, and you guys have kind of just been going at it with them, and your work it doesn't go unnoticed and it's appreciated. I do have a request in regard to our meeting packages. If I understand sometimes things come in late, but if we could have them like before noon, the day before the meeting, because a lot of us are working and don't have, you get something late in the day of the meeting, and by the time you leave work, get in your car, commute, come home, do whatever you have to do. You really don't have enough time to digest all the information that might be discussed that night. So if it's at all possible, just to get them a little earlier, that would be very helpful.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear, that's my fault. When I looked at the packet, I did not look closely enough after the engineer's report to ensure that all the background was along with it, along with all the updated items that were sent to us a couple of days ago. So, and we should have sent out like at least a text to everybody to let them know there was something sent today. So my apologies for that. We will make sure
there's no fault. There's no fault or anything like that. It's just a request when possible. And I do understand things come in late and last minute, and we got to play catch up. And I get that. That's so good. Onto the metering. When the people who live in the condos came here, they raised very valid points. And I don't disagree with their feelings and their sentiment and the fact that this billing practice isn't really fair. You know, if one person lives in a 3-bedroom and 8 people live in a loft, it obviously it's not fair. And that's why I want to explore this to the nth degree so that we exhaust every little bit of information so that when the time comes, if we can do something, which even that isn't clear yet, that we do everything correctly. I don't want something somewhere down the line to come back and may not be us sitting here, but I don't want somebody else having to clean up our mess like never mind. Yeah. But you know where I'm going with that. So for the people who live and reside in the condos, when you came here, you were heard and we're looking into it, and it's not going to happen overnight if we can do it at all. But there is one thing to remember, that if we do if things get converted to a meter system, the amount of money that we collect has to stay the same. So some people aren't aware of how much water they actually use or don't use. So if we go to meters and you're someone who uses a lot of water, you may end up paying more than you're paying now. Some people will pay less, some people will pay more. And that's why we have to have all the ducks in a row. Every little bit of information has to be there, has to be accurate, because the people who want it to be metered, when they start paying more because of how many people actually live in their home and how many showers are taken in the course of a day, they're not going to be happy, and then we get challenged. And when we do get challenged, if we do make a change, I want the challenge to be ended quickly because we did everything the right way. And that's my thought on that. I would like to do whatever we can for the people that live in the condos, because I don't understand it to the point of living it, but I did hear their things, and I get it. The only other thing is a quick question. Mr. Stasty brought up the executive session in the beginning of the meeting. Kind of get what she's saying. I don't know if there's rules, regulations that has to be in the beginning. And I know that people are coming to our meeting straight from work, commissioners too, and there may not be time before. Is the executive session something that maybe we would hold till later so that, people don't have to stare at their screens or sit here and wait for us to come back, in the future? I guess that's something for discussion, but it's kind of a valid request, as far as I'm concerned.
It's a good point, Paul. We could do it
Yeah,
first and announce about how much time we're going to be in the executive session. When I was on the school board, we made that same change. We announced at the beginning of the meeting, we're going to immediately go into closed session for 30 minutes or an hour, whatever it was, so that people, would be able to join in when they want, rather than just sit there and do it. So that's one approach.
So typically when you have it scheduled for the beginning of the meeting, you have a defined time saying, and it's actually on so 6:30 to 7, every meeting is an executive session, whether it's, if it's not needed, well, you still know at 7 o'clock is when you're going to commence regular session. And if it is needed, well, at 6:59, you're coming out of or as close to 7 o'clock as possible, you're coming out of executive session so that you're starting the regular meeting as closely as possible to on time. That's
more time you had it on.
Yeah, just conversely, sort of cut you off, Paul, you can just have it at the end, not have it in the beginning. And to Ed's point as well, if it's at the end of the meeting, you announce to the public, we're going to executive session, no action is going to be taken when we resume. So the public knows, okay, I don't need to stick around. I can now leave. Or conversely, I'm going to stick around because they might take action when they're
Right, but it's their option then.
correct.
Okay, that's it for me.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye. Good evening.